And in the opening story for tonight, the big rumor that Vince McMahon, who will be appearing on Pat McAfee's show this coming Thursday. So for those listening, it'll be Thursday, March the 3rd is the date of that appearance. And the rumor is that the 76-year-old CEO and chairman of the board of WWE will be getting a program which will culminate in a match at WrestleMania 38 with SmackDown commentator Pat McAfee. So per Dave Meltzer, Uncle Dave over at Wrestling Observer, a match between McMahon and SmackDown commentator McAfee was listed on the internal schedule for WrestleMania 38 as of Friday night. WWE previously announced that McMahon will appear on McAfee's radio show on Thursday. McMahon's last official match was a no-holds-barred lumberjack contest against Bret Hart at WrestleMania 26 in 2010. And then he was going to wrestle CM Punk on an episode of Raw in October 2012, but it never officially started after the two got into a brawl before the bell rang. Now, I've talked about here on the show, you can go back in the archives of TakeOver 30. Super impressed by Pat McAfee in his match with Adam Cole, baby. He would go on at War Games to lead a team of Pete Dunne, Danny Burch, and Oney Lorcan to take on the Undisputed Era, which was another amazing match. I was very impressed with Pat McAfee, even for a punter. He was an NFL punter. The man is an athlete, and it was great. It was a great match. Both matches were great, so I fully expect nothing but the best from Pat McAfee. However, my thought process is that this is going to turn into Austin Theory versus Pat McAfee. I would not put money on the chairman of the board, Vince McMahon, actually competing in a match at 76 years old. Not that he wouldn't want to, or not that he couldn't physically do it, because I think he would do everything in his power to physically be in a match. But I think it's just more of a ticket selling ploy. They have 100,000 tickets to sell each night, 200,000 tickets total to sell. And last I heard, I think I saw something around 20,000 tickets available still each night left to be sold, because a lot of them they're doing 2-for-1. So if you want to buy, one night, you buy one night, get one night free kind of deal, which is not too bad. Also on the rumor and innuendo, I think I talked about this last week, but also teasing Steve Austin making a return. Steve Austin has not wrestled since WrestleMania 19 in 2003 in his last match against The Rock. KO has been doing a lot of anti-Texas stuff in recent weeks. So that seems to be the running rumor, is that you see KO lock up with Steve Austin, Stunner versus Stunner. Again, next week on the show, we're going to predict and kind of fantasy book the remaining WrestleMania card. We're going to run down the full card that we know as of right now later on in the program. In sad news, on Saturday, February 26th, Tammy Sitch, better known as WWE Hall of Famer Sunny, was arrested yet again in Keansburg, New Jersey, with 11 offenses. And here's the list. Here's the list of what good old Sunny was arrested for. Operating under influence of liquor or drugs, driving after driver's license / registration was suspended or revoked, careless driving, likely to endanger person or property, reckless driving, failure to wear seat equipment, responsibility of driver, driving without a license, failure to possess driver's license, failure to possess driver's registration, failure to possess driver's insurance card, failure to install interlock drive car without interlock, operate a motor vehicle during license suspension, second violation. As of now, she has a court date set for March the 10th, here in a couple weeks. And this is the second time this year alone, in 2022, in just about 2 months, that she has been arrested. She was arrested back in January and charged with making terroristic threats and unlawful possession of a weapon after allegedly threatening a man with a pair of scissors. If you've been following her on Twitter or on other social medias, she's been spending a lot of time in and out of prison. It's very sad. I just hope that at some point, sooner than later, she can kind of break the cycle and get herself the help she needs, whatever that is. Because as soon as she gets out of prison, she starts, plugging her OnlyFans. So if you like check her out on Twitter, it's like every day, multiple times a day. Sometimes it's, check out my OnlyFans. Check out my OnlyFans. You want to go see Tammy Sitch and all of her older Sunny Glory, by all means, please do so. But yeah, this is the second time this year, and she's been arrested multiple times over the last few years, and I was always a fan of hers, so I wish her nothing but the best, and hopefully she can get the help she needs to get her life under control and get her legal matters handled. So, another quick news story. Tony Khan has announced that he has another major announcement coming this week on Dynamite. Now, I think I kind of briefly talked about it because I was going to dedicate an entire episode to it here recently, but he's getting into the habit where it seems like every week he's got this game-changing announcement as far as AEW. And, most of the time he does deliver, but not always. Curious to see what this is. Some people are predicting that it has to do with some type of business agreement that AEW has gotten themselves into, whatever that is. But it'll be interesting to see, and we'll talk about it in full once that big announcement comes out next week on the show as well. Now let's talk real quickly about WrestleMania 38. Again, next week's show, we're going to do a full in-depth fantasy booking of WrestleMania 38. There's a lot of big-name stars that currently don't have anything on the books. And WrestleMania is basically a month away, and we only have 5 matches currently announced. Of course, WrestleMania 38 will take place from AT&T Stadium, home of the Dallas Cowboys, in Arlington, Texas, on April 2nd and 3rd. Right now, here's what we know. For night one, which I'm assuming this will be the main event of night one, Charlotte Flair defending the SmackDown Women's Championship against Ronda Rousey. For night 2, which I would guarantee is going to close the show, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns in a winner-take-all unification match to combine the WWE and Blue Universal Championships. We do not know which night these matches are on, but we do know for a fact that Becky Lynch will defend the Raw Women's Championship against Bianca Belair, and that Dominic and Rey Mysterio will take on the team of The Miz and Logan Paul. Now, the other match that is out there as well currently is Edge has an open challenge. He cut that promo on Raw this past week, and realistically, he dropped a lot of hints to a lot of people. AJ Styles, even Cody Rhodes. If Cody Rhodes is in fact coming to WWE, and again, I will not believe it until I actually see him on television. So until that happens, it's still just a rumor. Edge versus Cody would be interesting. Edge versus AJ Styles, I would love to see Edge versus AJ Styles. But again, we'll talk about that more in depth next week. And a lot of people aren't very happy with the other match I just talked about. The Mysterios versus The Miz and Logan Paul. Now, I get Logan Paul for people my age. I just turned 40 last year. I'll be 41 here in a few months. Logan Paul is not for me. He is not someone I follow, not someone I honestly care about, or what he does or anything like that. When I hear that he's in this boxing stuff, I know him and his brother Jake were big on YouTube. They had several controversies. I've never really been a fan of Logan Paul. I do appreciate the amount of attention he will bring to WWE, and that's all that is. It is a way for WWE to get more eyes. They bring in someone with a controversial history, and arguably Logan Paul is the most popular boxer in the world. And in 2022, I never thought I would say the words, Logan Paul is arguably the most popular boxer in the world. What does the world come to when Logan Paul is probably the top boxer in the world right now? People love watching his fights. I don't know why, but they do. And he's just going to bring a big set of eyes. He's going to bring his audience to WrestleMania this year. So that's good for WWE. It's going to put more eyes and potentially more ticket sales for that match alone. Now, the other one, we just kind of got, it's not officially listed yet, but I imagine it will be very, very soon. Of course, this past week on SmackDown, Johnny Knoxville made a play for Sami Zayn And it looks like the Jackass Star will have an official match. He did enter the 2022 Men's Royal Rumble match this year. And it looks like it could be Sami Zayn defending his newly won Intercontinental Championship against Johnny Knoxville. Now, we are far away from the days of Macho Man Randy Savage versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat at WrestleMania 3. We're 35 years removed from arguably one of the greatest WrestleMania matches ever. And now the Intercontinental Championship is going to be defended against a TV star. An older TV star who loves doing physical harm to his body. Now, I have no doubt. Don't get it twisted. I have no doubt that match will probably be very entertaining. I love Sami Zayn. I love what Sami Zayn's been doing recently. And Johnny Knoxville, he's just going to do anything. He won't care. He'll do whatever it takes. He will jump off the top of the stage through something like, I don't know. He'll do something crazy just because that's what Johnny Knoxville does. And he'll make it entertaining. And it'll be entertaining to watch. It's not, like I said, it's not going to be Savage versus Steamboat. But I fully expect that match to be made official. And, get some more on that in the coming weeks. But that also leaves a lot of other things up in the air, like both tag team championships. United States champion Damian Priest. The women's tag team champions. You still have to figure that stuff out. Will anybody from NXT be involved? They'll have Stand and Deliver the day before. On Saturday, ahead of night 1 of WrestleMania, will be TakeOver Stand and Deliver. But it'll be interesting to see, what all they do to fill out this card. Because last year, I just want to get the number of matches. So last year, each night had 7 matches. 7 matches night 1, 7 matches night 2. And right now, there's 1 confirmed match for each night and 3 others on the table. So that's 5 of a potential 14 matches so far. So there's a lot to play around with. So next week, it's going to be more fun. It'll be a longer, more in-depth show. Again, I'm going to kind of keep it short a little bit this week. It was kind of a crazy week, a crazy weekend. I want a tip from Chris. So shout out, Chris. Thank you, my friend, for putting in our little group chat that local Target had Kane. Ultimate Edition Kane. And unfortunately, and I'll show you all that. But they also had Ultimate Edition. You can see my pen's background there. Set her this way. What up, Dad? Ultimate Edition Undertaker. So be on the lookout. I'm going to have some figure unboxings coming back to the channel for some wrestling toys. But again, unfortunately, I got one of the Canes, and I'm not going to take them all the way out. But for those who are aware of what I'm referring to, I'll just show you all that right there. You can see the paint of the elbow. It's not fully painted red like it should be. However, Mattel, the awesome people that they are, that emailed customer service. Again, it's a problem they are fully aware of. So I got a reply the very next day stating that the parts are on back order, but they would send me the replacement arm and the replacement parts for Kane free of charge. So, but until then, I will still be doing some unboxings. I'll probably work on those this week and drop them this coming weekend or maybe next week sometime. But just really haven't had time to do the openings. You can see I've got a lot of other stuff. I've still got belts to hang up. I got the flag up. I got the banner that Jennifer got me last year. Finally got that hung up. And I got a lot of stuff like, y'all probably seen this in the streams many, many times, but I got the giant bobblehead Grogu pop. I just took it out of the box. It was so much cooler than being in the box. I don't have it up here. I wish I'd have brought it up with me. But I also did another major purchase today while we were out. So after we left Sam's, we were going to go to Five Below, which is where I picked up the keyboard and the headphone stand. There's a GameStop next door to Five Below. So we swung into GameStop. And I ended up picking up the Bad Batch 5-pack of Funko Pops. So this is the 5-pack I got. Hunter, Wrecker, Tech, Crosshair, and Echo. Also recently I picked up the actual individual sets because they're actually all individual with their helmets on. So I have all of them plus Omega, which I believe was a Target exclusive. And now I have them all without their helmets. So I have the full set of Bad Batch, which I'm super pumped on. Jen also picked up a Deadpool mystery box, which I thought was pretty cool. I haven't seen that in a while. Her pick up something. But she did pick up a Deadpool mystery box. It had a Funko Pop and a couple other cool things in it. So very, very awesome. Again, just thought I'd share that with you guys real quick. We'll wipe that out of there. So, yeah. Again, this week, looking forward to what they bring on Raw. Again, I don't watch, the live stuff. It's just going to have cable here in the house. I will pull up, highlights on YouTube, or I'll listen to, recap. I'll listen to Late Wade Keller's post show every Tuesday to get the gist of what happened on Raw that week. Curious to see what Tony Khan's, AEW announcement is. Just to see what all he has in store for all of us. And, of course, SmackDown, Brock and Roman are on a collision course. Let's talk about that real quick. And this is what I was thinking about doing for next week. But maybe we'll do this next week. Maybe we'll do a separate video for this. It is now being billed as the greatest wrestling match ever. The biggest wrestling match ever, excuse me. The biggest WrestleMania match ever. Had we not seen this match a few times already, I think you could maybe make a case. However, I could list off 5 easy ones off the top of my head. Hogan Andre, Hogan Savage, Hogan Warrior. Let's go with Brett and Shawn. Let's go with Austin versus Shawn. Let's go with Taker versus Michaels 1, Taker versus Michaels 2, any of the Taker versus Triple H matches, Stone Cold Rock 1, Stone Cold Rock 2, Stone Cold Rock 3, The Rock versus Hogan. I would classify all of those better or bigger than this current Brock and Roman. The only thing I will say, in kind of defense of that is, this is the best version of Roman Reigns we have ever seen. And this is the best version of Brock Lesnar we have ever seen. So they have that going for them. Yes, we have seen this match before. It may not be built as the greatest wrestling match ever like Randy Orton and Edge were 2 years ago. However, this is the best Brock. Seeing him come out with the cowboy hat, right? He just looks like he's having fun. If you haven't checked out the interview he did with Pat McAfee from last week or the week before, I highly recommend checking it out. It's fascinating listen. You get a more in-depth into the mind of the Beast Incarnate. So I highly recommend that if you have the opportunity. And again, this is the best Roman. The tribal chief, the head of the table. Acknowledge him. Now I need to update my Roman to the red gauntlet. I have the painted gold one. Now it's red, so I've got to change that to red. But still keep Roman out on the desk no matter what. The tribal chief representing here on the in the Wrestling with Fans studio. But guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week. I didn't have a lot to talk about. I've kind of liked these shorter shows. Did get some feedback last week. Thank you, Jason, for the feedback. He enjoys the shorter shows to do. It's easy to digest, a quick 30 minutes or less. So I'm going to try to do more of that and see where things go. Just, total transparency here. The domain and the web hosting is up here next month, here in like 2 or 3 weeks. And at one point, I honestly thought about just letting it expire, just keeping the domain in case I ever decided to bring the show back. Because at one point, a few months ago, I seriously considered just stopping the show. Just didn't have the time to do what I wanted, how I wanted to do it. But I think now we're going to stay the course. I want to get back into live streaming more. I've talked about that. And eventually here, one of these weeks, we're going to do it, especially with WrestleMania coming up, because it's going to be crazy. There's going to be a lot to talk about every single day when it comes to professional wrestling. So I'm really excited for WrestleMania season for that reason alone, to get some more stuff to talk about. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got, guys. So before I close out, again, let me remind you all, Facebook.com/Wrestling with Fans. Hulk, smash that like button to keep up to date with everything going on here at Wrestling with Fans. If you're watching this video, you know you're on the YouTube channel, so make sure you go down and click that subscribe button. If you're listening to the audio version, head over to YouTube.com/Wrestling with Fans. Hulk, smash that subscribe button. And then if you want to be notified anytime a new video goes up or anytime we go live, click the little bell icon and set your notifications to always. If you're on the YouTube app, just search Wrestling with Fans Podcast, and then just click the little logo and then click that subscribe button. You can also follow me on Instagram at Wrestling with Fans. Check us out on the web at WrestlingWithFans.com. New audio shows posted every single Monday morning at 6:05 a.m. Eastern. Start your week off right with the brand new Wrestling with Fans podcast. Or if you want to take us on the go, download us to your favorite podcast listening device. Get us wherever you get your podcast fix. Just search Wrestling with Fans Podcast. We're on all the major podcast platforms. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher. Anywhere you get your podcast fix, just search Wrestling with Fans Podcast. Last and certainly not least, shoot us an email if you want to feedback, questions, comments, topics, anything like that you want to talk about. Just shoot me an email over at wwfshow@gmail.com. That's wwfshow@gmail.com. All right, y'all. So we're going to wrap up here. And this has been episode 184. It's still hard to believe 184 episodes. Still going strong here on Wrestling with Fans, guys. I've had a lot of fun. As you can see, I'm still doing upgrades with stuff and adding stuff. I've got cables and stuff. I wish I could show y'all the rig I got up here. Kind of made a little rig out of an old tripod and an old mic stand. So, cool little rig I got up here for a second camera angle up top. Wasn't able to get it ready for this video version, but we'll bring it back for a live stream or for next week's show. And I hope you guys, if you enjoy the audio show and you want to see my beautiful, handsome face, over on YouTube, every Wednesday we'll drop the video version of this show. Of course, links to everything, all the social medias and all that fun stuff will be in the video description below. They will be in the audio description below. So however you want to find it, everything is going to be provided to you. But guys, that's going to wrap the show up for this week. Again, next week we're going to kind of fantasy book the remainder of the WrestleMania card and maybe talk about some of the greatest WrestleMania matches in the weeks leading up to WrestleMania. I've thought about doing some WrestleMania watch-alongs, kind of bonus shows leading into WrestleMania this year. Some of my favorite WrestleMania moments. If you remember the very first year we did Wrestling with Fans, we did our greatest WrestleMania ever bracket, and WrestleMania 17 won. So I have those notes. I'm going to have to pull those notes out of the archives to see how everybody else finished, but it'd be fun to do. We'll chat about it, all that good stuff. So, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for listening. Once again, my name is Kyle, and I'll see you next time right here on Wrestling with Fans.